Welcome to the Northstar webinar. We're going to go over with you the new website and the new admin portal, Northstar 2.0. And first, I just wanted to introduce myself. So I am Jenna Rose Dahl. I'm your friendly Northstar help desk person. And I've also been helping with a lot of the upgrades to version 2.0. So in my role at Northstar, I started out as a computer skills tutor and teacher. So I started out actually as a volunteer in a computer lab and then running a computer lab for in St. Paul. And there I was working with adults who were on unemployment and who needed to learn computer skills. Originally, I was just doing teaching. We didn't have an assessment at that point when I was getting started. It was about 7 or 8 years ago. So I was really excited when Northstar came into existence, and I was assessing my students' skills and getting those results page, showing them what they need to work on, and getting them certificates, which I found hugely motivating for my students. So really exciting to me about using Northstar. And then with all of my, oh, I'm hearing some weird sound. I'm wondering if everyone is muted.
Yeah. So hoping sound is a little bit better now. I'll try to keep the microphone closer to me. So yeah, kind of going over again with Northstar. I really got to use it a lot with participants, with students, with volunteers. So that's more of my Northstar background. I was using it as a teacher or proctor like yourselves. And then as time went on, I started helping out other teachers use Northstar and helping more with the process. So I'm no longer teaching. Now I'm helping other people with Northstar, but I just want you to know that I've got that background, the same as you, working with students on Northstar. So first I kind of want to ask, how many people have completed our new proctor training that we sent out? How many people have reviewed our new manual? We just sent that one out 2 days ago. And we also sent out a list of quick start videos, so short little videos that kind of help you with the new version of Northstar. Okay, cool. I'm glad that some people have been looking at the training and the videos, and I'm hoping you find those really helpful. If you have any feedback on the manual or the videos, once our new website is launched, definitely let us know about that feedback, because those are brand new things that we made. We've tried to think of every question that you might have, but if you have other questions that aren't answered by those, let us know. And you can let us know here too. If you've gone over the proctor training and reviewed the new manual, if there's points of confusion, definitely put those questions in the chat and we'll get to those today. So first what we'll do here is I'm going to give you a sneak preview of our new website. So I'm going to do screen sharing. So this is our new Northstar website. We're super excited about it. This is going to be live at the end of this month. So we've made a lot of updates based on feedback from you guys. And it's new and beautiful. So our new Northstar website here, this is the website that anyone would go to take an assessment, and really anything about Northstar. Before we had 4 different websites that you could use as proctors. Now we've really got 2. So things are going to be much more simpler and streamlined. We're really excited about this. So right on the home page, you see the button to take an assessment or become a testing location, kind of the main 2 things that people come to this website to do. And as I scroll down, we've reorganized our digital literacy assessments. So originally, when we made these assessments, we kind of published them as we put them out in that order. So our first assessment was basic computer skills, then World Wide Web, Windows, Mac, email, Word, and Excel. Those were the first 6 assessments. But as time went on and we've added more, we've realized our need to reorganize them. So now we have them in 3 different categories. So we have our essential computer skills over on the left, some essential software skills in the middle, and using technology in daily life. So social media and information literacy are in that last category. We'll also have a new module coming out soon about job search, so that will also go into that category. And then on our new website, you're going to have the option to enter in a 4-digit PIN to set your testing location. So if you're a sponsor site and you use that URL specific to your site, so all of your test takers or students can take an assessment and you get your results saved, but they aren't proctored, this is where you'll enter that in, just right on our public website. So rather than having a whole different URL, you'll be able to use the same website. We have a section for finding a Northstar testing location near you. And we've also changed the name from sponsor site to testing location. So now all of you guys are going to be known as testing locations. For people who are trying to find a place to take a Northstar assessment, they can enter in a zip code and look for assessment locations, testing locations that are located near that zip code. So you can see these little icons and search for testing locations near you. In our About section, we have kind of the general timeline and overview of what Northstar is. So you can see we've kind of got a new design, some of the same facts, but a very new look to our website. So any questions at all right now that anyone has about the new website? Yeah. So I see the questions. Is the module content the same? And when do we receive the PIN? Great questions. So the modules are all currently being updated. Some of them are already updated. So if you go and look at the assessments on our current website, like you've probably noticed that assessments like basic computer skills and internet basics, they've already been updated. So they already have a different look. And we've updated the standards and a few of the questions in those assessments. And each assessment is going through an update. So we're upgrading from Flash to HTML, using our new design and using our updated standards for each of the modules. So they'll be the same as they are on our older website.
So basically we're doing a lot of the time.
Yeah, yeah, I think Julia.
So, hi. So to answer that question, we're doing one module at a time because it's really time intensive to code it all up in the new technology. So we're doing that process gradually. So all of the ones that are updated in the current version of the website now will be carried over, updated into the new version of the website. And those that we're still working on will be rolled out one at a time as we get them done. So we're hoping that I think by early 2019, we should have them all updated and ready to go, is the answer to that. Was there another component to that question that we should still answer? So some of them are staying very much the same. The standards haven't changed much. The questions aren't changing much, but just the way they look will be improved, and the way that the questions function will be improved, and like the options for people viewing and answering them. But some of them are changing a lot more radically. Like basic computer skills changed considerably more because we did a lot more with our standards to address like different devices and other changes in technology and how people are using it. So the next question that I saw come through is, when do we receive our pins and how do we find them? Jenna Rose, do you want to answer that, or should I?
Yeah, well, after we finish going over this main website part, Julia's going to go over our admin portal, and that's where you'll find your pin. So we'll answer that and we'll show you exactly where it is once we turn over to the admin portal part. The other thing I wanted to mention about our modules being updated is that changing to a new software has allowed us to change how the tests function. So a lot of the issues that we had with tests before, like we had issues that someone would accidentally click the wrong answer to a question and then it would move on and they couldn't go back and change their answer. That's fixed now. So now participants, test takers can go back and re-answer a question. So that's one big improvement that we've made. This new software also allows us to let people answer the questions in many different ways. So before, where our software kind of limited us to 1 or 2 ways to answer a question, the new software really makes the tests have a more real feel. So when they're answering a question, for example, if there's 5 different ways to do this one thing in Microsoft Word, they'll be able to do it all those different ways. Yeah, one of the huge things is that we can now use keyboard commands. So rather than just using a mouse to click on the test for where the answer is, if we're asking someone to copy, they can now hit Control-C to copy. So that's a real huge improvement with our new modules. And yeah, like Julia said, they're being updated one at a time, so we'll release them as they're being updated. And now I'm going to turn it over to Julia to go over the admin portal and the proctor process next. But again, if you have questions pop up, just feel free to put them in that chat box and we'll get to them. I think that would work best, yeah.
Hi, everybody. It's me again. So let me get oriented to Jenna Rose's computer here. It looks like she has the new admin portal up in another tab. So this answers this pending question about pins. So whenever you log into the admin portal, which you will get set up as soon as we have the new version of the website launched, this is the first page that you'll get to. So right now in her account, her demo account doesn't actually have a proctor pin, so maybe I'll log into mine. And while I'm logged out, I'm going to change course a little bit even too and show you just briefly how the proctor process works on the main page, because it doesn't work when you're logged in as an admin. Shoot, how do I get back to like that? Great. Okay, so the intention is that the admin portal and the tests themselves will be taken or used on different computers. So if you're logged in as an admin on a computer, it doesn't work to proctor assessments on the same computer. So that's something to keep in mind as you're working. Anytime somebody wants to take an assessment for your testing location, like if they want their results to be saved with you so you can track them, they can put the locations pin in this bar below the assessment list. So basically anybody coming to this website can take an assessment anytime it's open. But if they want those results to be saved, then they want to put their location here. And then it shows that location up at the top of the window so they can verify that it's the right place that they entered. And then if you want to proctor an assessment, so right now they can currently put their name in the bar and take any of those assessments and it'll save. But if you're proctoring it, like actually overseeing the assessment and want to issue certificates, then you want to turn this mode on and enter the proctor pin there, which for me is secret for you. And then authorize. And then you can see that the proctor mode has been turned on by that process. And then you want to enter the test taker's name and continue. And then you now see that not only is the proctor mode on, the location is selected, but also you see the test taker's name there. So you see clearly that everything is set up to be proctored. And then the same links to the same assessments are available. So now that I have those things set up and turned on, I can choose to start the Microsoft Excel assessment and know that those results will, if I pass the assessment, get me a certificate. So, Jenna Rose, have you collected some questions about that process so far? Tell me what they are.
Yeah, so one of the questions is, does this mean we don't need start codes anymore?
I don't even know what start codes were.
Yeah,
Generous takes
it's
that
all
one.
up over here too.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't need start codes anymore. Yeah. Instead of using start codes and having to generate those specific codes, you're going to be able to enter in your site code and then your proctor pin, and that's all you'll need to do to proctor an assessment. You'll probably have those things memorized, so it's going to be way, way easier than it was before, way quicker to do. Another question that someone asked that I want to answer is, are the tests available in Spanish? And we actually used to have our tests available in Spanish, but we kind of had a big meeting with an advisory committee and decided not to offer those anymore. So originally we had them offered in Spanish. We worked with a really great translation company to get them all translated and have audio recorded. And we got a lot of feedback that the translation wasn't quite right, that the assessment wasn't the quality that we wanted it to be. So after meeting with this community advisory committee, we decided to no longer offer them in Spanish. The other question was whether students can test on a Mac or PC. And yep, they can use either kind of computer, Mac, PC. They can use a Chromebook, anything with a web connection to take the assessments, because the assessments are all online.
And I think even like an iPad now, right? Or no?
You should be able to take them on something like an iPad too, because we switched from Flash to HTML. It's just going to be a lot easier for students to take the tests on different devices. I would still recommend taking them on a computer. I think that's the way they're really built to be taken, but there will be more flexibility as far as what students can use to take the tests. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let me pause a second and see if other questions have come up on the chat that are urgent. How's it looking, Generous?
Yeah, someone's asking, does it matter what browser you use?
All browsers should work well. We've tested them pretty extensively. I don't think we've run into any browser-specific quirks or flaws yet.
They're asking if they can set their own pin or if they're assigned.
Ooh, you're assigned a pin. It's randomly generated, and I'll show you how to do that. If you ever need to reset the pin, so like if your learners, your test takers find out what your pin is, and then all of the proctored assessments are kind of compromised, there's a way to regenerate a new one, but it is random. It's not something that you can choose.
Someone's asking if all of the content will be the same.
So the content, again, is being updated gradually. So it is largely the same, but we're adding some new things and swapping some things out and improving things.
Someone's asking if
Ooh, accessibility standards. We've actually put a lot of work into this, and I will confess that we have not tested it super extensively with people who use screen readers, but I have tested it with screen readers and it seems to work pretty well. So we do have like alt tags with a lot of our images and things like that worked in. So definitely if you have test takers using this with a screen reader or anything else, any other accessibility devices, and you find problems, please let us know. We would like to fix those things if there are any. And I believe I tested it with JAWS.
And then does the proctor code get turned on for each assessment? Or can the proctor code get turned on and then have to make a series of assessments?
Oh, good question. So once the proctor code is turned on, once proctor mode is on, people I think can take a series of assessments. So like once that mode is active, then all of the assessments are there to be taken and they can do as many as they want in one sitting or do them later. Either is great. Cool. Any other last questions about that process? If not, then I'll show you some of the cool things in the admin portal. Logging you out, Jenna Rose.
No problem. Can you turn on the proctor mode on more than one computer?
You can definitely turn on the proctor mode on more than one computer, yes. Okay, so one thing I want to show you first of all is that on the main site, the digitalliteracy-assessment.org, there's always going to be this button in the upper right that says log in, and you can use that button to reach the admin portal also. So you don't have to learn a separate URL to get there, you can just go directly to it. And now apparently I can't, oh, there we go. Okay. So here's what the front page of the admin portal looks like. Once you have logged in, it takes you to this screen where you find your pins. So all you have to do to get your pins is take the Proctor training, get your account set up, and then just log in, and there they are. So the location pin is here in this like turquoise box, and the Proctor pin is here in this gray box. So again, this first one is what you use and what your test takers can use and what anybody working with your site can use to register their assessment results in your database. So you can give this to any of your test takers. They can use it at home, they can use it at work, they can use it wherever they want to make sure they get to that site. So the other option is you can continue to do it a little bit more like you had before and use this URL that's here, which is specific to this location also. So if you'd rather work with a bookmarked web page instead of a pin, you can always use and distribute this URL and bookmark it on all your computers, email it to your test takers, use it however you want to make sure that those results are getting logged in your site's results. So either way works. The Proctor pin is down here, and again, that's the one you use that you should keep a little bit more private to make sure that the certificate generating assessments are actually proctored. And it looks like Jenna Rose is seeing some urgent questions. I'm gonna see what those are. Okay, so, and maybe the question is, can we share the screen with like our test takers? I don't know, that's a possibility. You can definitely share the location pin like I said, but please don't share the Proctor pin. It's very important that you keep that Proctor pin for yourself only and for your use only. Nobody else should know it or see it. Any other questions coming up?
One person asked if the assessments are in Flash or HTML5.
Flash or HTML5. They are in HTML5 now, except for the old ones. So again, we're in the process of updating them. Those that have not yet been updated are still going to be Flash for a little bit. Most of them, I think, at this point are HTML5, and by the time we hit January, February, they will all be HTML5. I don't either. Yeah. So somebody asked the question, are you still calling it jumping in? And I'm not sure what that phrase refers to. So maybe not. maybe we're not sure if we ever did, but if you want to expand on that question, we're happy to answer it. So can unproctored tests taken at home earn a certificate? The answer is no. To earn a certificate, they need to be proctored by a human proctor. But they can claim a badge, and that's a process that we're still kind of working out. Like, it can be done currently, but we're looking at switching to a different badge vendor. So we're not going into a whole lot of detail about that at this point because that might shift a little. But anybody taking an assessment anywhere can claim a badge. So somebody else asked, we just share the location pin and it doesn't matter what computer they use. That is correct. Anybody can take this on any computer using your location pin, and the purpose of doing that is like if you, especially if you work in like an educational institution and you want your people making progress on these, they can take it on their own and then you can still see like, oh, you've really improved at this, like, oh, maybe it's time that you move to this other class or take this thing or try this website. So it's more a way to track your test takers' progress like from an educational perspective, I would say, than from like a credentialing perspective, if that makes sense.
And then I wanted to jump in. Jump in. The person who asked about jumping in, so someone clarified that it might mean practice testing. So we do not encourage practice testing. If you've got a person who wants to pass and earn a certificate, I'd encourage you to proctor the assessment, give them their results page, and help them study what they missed. But if you're talking about practice testing, like having them repeatedly take the assessment to practice taking the test, that is not something we'd encourage with any kind of test, because then people can just pass the test by default rather than actually showing that they have mastered and know the skills. So something like practice testing, if you show, like I've heard of people like projecting the assessment and showing students how to answer each question. That's just cheating. If you show people how to answer questions on a test, and that would be true of any test in any school setting, that if you're coaching students on how to take the test, if you're letting them take it many, many times until they pass, that counts as cheating, and it makes the certificate and the test less valid. So we want to make sure that if someone doesn't pass a test, that you're training them in between them retaking the assessment. So you're giving them some tutoring, you're having them sign up for a class, you're coaching them on the skills that they missed, you're giving them some sort of education in between taking assessments.
So I kind of want to demonstrate how to change the proctor pin if needed, but I have this one memorized and I don't want to have to learn a new one. But I'll show you how to get there and how to do it, and then I'm just going to not finish the process. So here in the upper right, I have my name and a drop-down menu next to it, and there's an option called Personal Profile. And there I can edit my name, I can edit my email, I can edit my phone number, and most important to this conversation, I can generate a new PIN. So if I click this button, it gives me a new 6-digit code right here. And if I go back to this page, it will immediately be updated. So if you do that, if you regenerate a new PIN, that's great. You can do it anytime you want. You can do it every day if you feel like, but you probably won't. If you do that, whoever is taking assessments under that PIN at the moment, like if you use that old PIN to turn proctor mode on and people are taking assessments now, it'll still continue to work for them, but any new proctor modes you enter, like any time you turn it on in the future, you'll want to use the new one. Does that make sense enough? I see Jenna Rose typing.
Yeah, so I want to
one more thing.
Jump in and answer another one of the questions that came up. So people are asking about practice sites and including the SPPL guide. So when you're talking about practice sites, I see that you're talking about online training or educational resources. So videos, articles, things students use to learn these skills. So the SPPL site, I believe, will eventually go away. But the good news to follow that is that we're going to be building our own curriculum in the future. So it's not going to be available with the release of our new website. Don't hold your breath for it. It'll probably be in about a year or so. That will have Northstar curriculum that you can use with your students. I'm really excited about that. Hopefully what's going to happen, I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is something really cool. I think that when students finish taking a test, they're going to see their results page. They're going to see the things that they already know and the things that they've missed. They'll be able to click on the things that they've missed, and that's going to open up a practice or resource, some kind of educational resource for them to look at. So we'll have for each of our standards videos or articles or things that they can practice on to help learn those skills. So it'll be a lot more integrated in the future. Another website that you can use, I'll put it in the chat box, but there are different websites that you can use for education, educational technology skills.
And we are going to have some of those links on the website as they are, right?
Right. So we have some links on our current website. If you look on our current website, it's under the FAQs. There's a question about curriculum. And we'll have some links on our new website also to those educational resources.
Anything else come up?
So they're asking about the SPPL site. We're not sure. Yeah, we're not sure exactly how long the SPPL site will be up for. I don't think it's going away anytime urgently, but they're not. I think that they're just not going to update it as we're updating all of our standards because they know that we're going to have our curriculum coming out soon. So I'm guessing that it'll stay up until we release our new curriculum.
Okay. So there are a few more tabs in this admin portal that we're going to look at. The difference between assessments and reports is assessments has results for individual assessments that were taken, whereas reports are more summaries of like all of your testing locations results. So we'll look at those quick. The assessments, again, has every result from your testing location stored. You can choose to look for a specific person using this field here, or you can choose to just click the button and get every single result. There's also these sort of like mini filters. You can choose to only get the proctored results, you can only choose to get the passing results, or you can only choose to get the results that are both proctored and passed. So those options are available here as kind of a shortcut. Whichever thing you choose, so let's say I chose to look at passing results only. It will give you all of the results in chronological order with the most recent thing first. And you can always modify that filter. So I chose passing only, but I can decide like, actually, I just want to see the failing scores and apply that filter. And then you'll get only the failing scores. So you can play with this as much as you want to at any point. You can change them later. You can decide you don't want to see the basic computer skills results. You can look only at a specific date or range of dates. You can use any combination of these filters and apply them to see exactly the results that interest you. And once you have that, you get the names, the time and date that the assessment was taken, which module it was, whether it was proctored, their scores and the number they got correct, and whether they've claimed a badge. And I'll find the right filter to get us some examples where we can get a certificate, so we can see that as well. So again, you can only earn certificates if they were both proctored and passed. So when I have that there, I get the option to generate certificates for these folks. So if I just want one certificate for one module, I just click on the button and it downloads a PDF, and then I open the PDF and there it is, the certificate. Pretty straightforward. As long as you feel good about printing things, you're set. Then if you want to put together multiple certificates, we use these little plus buttons. So if, say, I want to generate certificates for Penny Moore here, I can look for her. And again, I'm giving a pretty quick overview here. This is all gone over also in the manual that we put together, and also the videos go over this in detail. So you can feel free to watch those a dozen times if you would like to. So now I have only proctored and passed assessments for Penny Moore specifically. If I want a certificate that shows her email results and her basic computer skills results and her Excel results, etc., I click these plus buttons. And then review certificate. And then I have a place where I can see all the results that I've compiled. And if it looks good, I have all the things I need, everything's correct, then I download that certificate. And then you get a PDF for that test taker that has all of those results listed together. I see questions.
Yeah.
Questions, yay!
So I wanted to jump in on one of these questions here. So someone is asking if we have a tool to digitally sign certificates, or if you should use your own PDF kind of apps. So certificates are meant to be signed with a hand. So you're supposed to use a pen to sign the certificates. You don't need to use a PDF app. We don't have a tool to digitally sign certificates. And the reason for that is you have to be there with your student proctoring the assessment, or your test taker, whoever you're proctoring the assessment for. So you have to be physically there in the room, monitoring them, making sure they're following the code of conduct, making sure there's no cheating happening. You'll have to set them up. When they finish, you can help them print their results page and you can print out their certificate. But you should physically sign it with a pen rather than using some kind of like PDF signer. And another person was asking about the website launch date. So the website will be down October 27th and 28th while we launch it. So it'll be launched right after that. So the weekend of October 27th and 28th, plan not to use the assessments or the website. And we'd also recommend giving yourself about a week after the new website's launch to become familiar, play around with the site, play around with assessments. Rather than having, assessments scheduled, the first week of November, I would give yourself a little time to become familiar first. The other question that came up was if you still have to create an account when you're claiming a badge. And like Julia said earlier, we're looking at new badge technologies and platforms to use. So under our current system, you still have to create an account to claim a badge, but we're looking to see what else is out there. So after our website's launched, that's probably something we're going to look into a bit more.
Thanks, Jenna Rose. So we have this certificate printed. I'm going to go back to assessments and just show you one more thing. And that is that in any of these results, you can go into the row and see more details about it. And there's a couple of other things you can do here. You can view the test taker's results page, so see all the things that they got right or wrong. You can edit their name if there was a typo or their name changed. You can invalidate an assessment if you find out that they cheated and they didn't actually pass. You can use this button to take it out of that list. And then it has a list of standards mastered and a list of standards needing improvement, which here are none. And then you can look at the questions that they got right and wrong and click on any one to see a screenshot to know, like, oh, that's what that question was that they missed. So I may have chosen a bad example because this is one where they got 100% of the questions right, but normally there will be some in red that are the ones they got wrong. So you can see that really clearly there. Another question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So more questions coming in. So someone asked a question about students that you are pre-testing now and you'll be post-testing on November 8th. So they asked if they're going to have to take the assessment on the new website. Yep. November 8th, we're just going to have the new site up. So when they're post-testing, you'll have to get them set up to take the test on the new website. It's going to be the same URL, so it's still going to be digitalliteracyassessment.org. So it's not like you have to memorize a new URL, but the website is going to go through that upgrade that last weekend in October.
All of the data from the pretest will still be there, right?
Right. So someone had asked if you need to back up your testing info. You don't need to do that. Everything's going to transfer over. So when you get your login to your new admin portal, it's going to have all of those tests, all of that data that you had before. So you don't need to back anything up. You're not going to lose anything. Everything's transferring over. So if you have students who took a test in 2013, that's still going to show in your portal. And another person asked the minimum number of tests you need to pass to get a certificate. So each assessment has a certificate associated with it. So if someone takes the basic computer test and passes, you can give them a certificate as long as you've proctored the test. So you don't need to pass like 3 tests to get a certificate. Each test has its own certificate.
And to add on to that, there may be some test takers who like having separate individual certificates. So if they want a separate certificate, like a piece of paper for basic computer skills, a different piece of paper for Microsoft Word, a different piece of paper for internet, great, give them out. But if they'd rather just have it in one concise format, that's when you would want to combine or merge certificates so they can have it all on one piece of paper and not kill all the trees and weigh down their backpacks and whatever. So either thing is fine. Individual certificates is great. They can collect them as they go. Merging certificates is also great. It saves some resources. So whichever you and your test takers prefer is just fine with us. We have no preference. All right, on to the reports tab. So again, assessments tab is this really specific, granular detail about each individual assessment that you can find. The reports tab has summary reports and a little more detailed reports for your testing location as a whole. So if we look at these summary reports, we see the number of assessments taken. You can see really easily like what the most popular ones are at your site. You can see pretty easily which ones are most frequently passed. So like in this example, internet is really commonly passed. PowerPoint is a little bit more of a struggle for people. So you can see that for your testing site as a whole. If you look at the detailed reports, that gives more detail. Surprise, surprise. So it gives a summary of how many times it was taken, how many times it was passed, what that pass rate equates to. And then if you click on an example report, you can see in a little bit more detail what that looks like. So for example, you can see that this question is particularly challenging. You can see a table of all of that information too. So what the pass rate is for each of the individual questions. And again, this is something that can help inform your instruction. So seeing that this question only has a 20% correct rate, you can look at that and be like, oh, this is maybe something in my classes that I'm teaching that I should cover a little more. Or this is something maybe I should emphasize in my education. So that's the reports tab. Location info is something that only site administrators are going to see. So proctors will have the home tab, the assessments tab, the reports tab, and help. But if you're a location administrator, you also get this location tab. And that's where you can edit the site's public information. You can add and deactivate staff, so other administrators and proctors, and you can modify your billing contact person, which, if I'm correct, didn't exist as an option before. So that is going to help you kind of manage things just in a web form like we're all kind of used to, instead of having to email us to change it for you. So this bit is all of the stuff that shows up on the Northstar website. So like when test takers are looking for a place that they could go to like get certificates, this is the information that shows up for them. So if those phone numbers change or the website changes or whatever it is, you can go ahead and change that right here. Manage staff is where you add or deactivate proctors. So you can add new proctors here, just enter their names and email and create that, and the system will directly send them a message to set up their account. So that's all you need to do to add a proctor, and then sort of monitor if they're active or if they've taken the training yet here. And then the billing contact, again, is if you have somebody at your site who's not directly involved in doing the assessments or looking at the reports or anything else like that, but they are the ones making sure that the fees get paid, then this is where you would enter that information. And then the last tab is the help tab, and we are planning to have all of the help videos that we created up here. So those will be here. A link to the manual should be here. So this hasn't been totally filled out yet, but we'll get there. And then this is the place to create a support ticket if you need to. So again, if you've reviewed the videos, you've reviewed the manual, there's some like technical difficulty that's not covered there, then this is the place to request help with that. So that is an overview of the admin portal, and some questions have come up. I'm confused.
Yeah, so I can answer that question. So right now in our current system, everyone has that kind of company login. So everyone has a username and a password that's used for all proctors and all admins to access the same website. So in the future, each proctor and each admin will have their own email address and password, log into the site. So each proctor will have their own account. That's why we've been really bugging you guys to update your contact info, because you're going to use your email to sign in. You'll be able to create your own password. So you're not going to have one of those weird violet butterfly 2689. You won't have one of those passwords. You'll be able to make your own password for each person logging in. Yeah, that's the answer to that question. We will post this recording. We'll probably post it on our website and on our Facebook page. So you can always refer back to this webinar. Yeah. And it'll be easy to create your own username and password. So we've sent out the proctor training in advance. So anyone who's currently a proctor can take the new training. And then when our new website launches, they're not going to have to wait to take the training before proctoring assessments. But we do want everyone to take the proctor training before our new website launches. So then when it's there, you're all ready to go. Otherwise, when our website launches at the end of this month, you'll have to take the training before you start setting people up for assessments, because you can see, as Julie's been showing you, the process is really different. Okay. Can a proctor have 2 logins? So it says you work from both home and school. I'm wondering if you can clarify what you mean by that question. So it's just the same as logging into any website. You'll have a username and a password. Your username is going to be your email, and your password is going to be one that you create. You can't proctor assessments from home. You need to be proctoring assessments at a testing location, which is going to be something like a school, a workforce center, a library.
But one thing that we haven't talked about yet is people who are proctors or administrators for multiple sites. When that is the case, when they first log in, they'll be given an option of which site they want to be working with. So the first thing you would see if you're an administrator or a proctor at multiple sites is a list of those sites, and then you can select any one to access those reports, for example.
So for Jerry, so saying that you work part-time, at school you proctor exams, and at home you do the monthly usage reports for your program. So you'd use that same login when you're at home. It's just going to be like logging into any kind of website. Or your email. Yeah, if you're logging into your email, you'd use the same one at work or at home. So you're not going to have 2 separate accounts depending on where you physically are. It's just an online account that you'll log into. You'll go to the website, put in your username and password, and sign in. And then someone asked, when will they get the email to create their individual accounts? They completed the training and have not gotten a link to create them.
So I can't give the exact time, but if you've already taken the proctor training, when the new website launches, you will get that email that you can use to create your account. So I'm guessing it'll be sometime the 27th, 28th, 29th, probably that Monday. The developer will trigger a thing that sends an email to you that gives you a link to set your account up with. So again, I'm not precisely sure of the minute of that, but somewhere in that date range when the website is ready to go. I see we have another question.
I was just going to say there's 5 minutes left.
Oh, so there's 5 minutes left of our time. I guess we timed that really well then. So if you have remaining questions, feel free to type them in. We'd be happy to answer them. If you feel sated for knowledge, we can end a little bit early. I'll pause and let people type in their questions if needed.
Yeah, so this webinar is being recorded. We'll post it on our website, and we also have a Facebook page. So on Facebook, look for Northstar Digital Literacy Assessment. I'll post it there first.
But also, I would also recommend the YouTube videos that we created for each of the specific things. So for me personally, I would kind of rather watch a 1-minute video on a specific thing than an hour of conversation and, you know, people switching back and forth in front of a webcam. That's my preference. You're of course welcome to watch this again, but we do have these quick little training videos on specific topics that I would recommend, maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm sure it's fun watching us hop in front of the camera for an hour, but like Julia says, those training videos that she made are really awesome. They're super short, and they're on all of these really common topics that you're going to be wondering about as you're getting used to the new website and getting used to the new proctor process. So we emailed those out on November 15th along with the manual. I know that was a giant email. We wanted you to be able to have kind of everything in one place. So that's why I had all of that information. So you have the ability to kind of flag that email or save that email and reference back to it. So on October 15th, sorry, that's when we sent it out. I know what month it is. So you'll have the email already in your inbox that has the new manual, a quick start guide, which has a list of short, like 1-minute videos showing how to do each of these tasks that we've been showing you.
They have music.
They do have cool music. And we'll also have another webinar date. So our next webinar is going to be November 2nd, 2 p.m. Central. So it'll be me, maybe Julia, we'll see. But in that second webinar, we're just going to kind of review what we went over today. So if you're attending the webinar today, you probably don't need to attend that second webinar, but if you feel like you want to sit through another one of the same thing, you are welcome to. Okay. So questions coming in. Thanks for saying that you like the videos. That's all Julia.
It's not all me.
Someone's asking if you can have more than one administrator. Yep. So you can have, right now you can only have 2 on your account. In the new website, you'll be able to have 3, and you'll be able to make those changes yourselves if you're a current admin, which I think you are. So you'll be able to add a new admin to that account, and you can delete existing admins and proctors.
And it's my understanding also that if you have a really strong reason for needing more than 3, then that's a request that you can send to us, and we can potentially add a few more than that too. But not something that you can add yourself. We want to be sure that it's like, we don't want to have a million admins.
Mm-hmm. And then Sarah, I see your question about if you gave us our email, could we email you something? What specifically did you want emailed? The proctor training and all of that is only going out to current proctors. So for new proctors and all that, they're not going to take the training until the new website launches. So if you're not currently a proctor, you won't get access to the proctor training yet. However, you can still see all of those short videos. They're posted on our YouTube channel and Facebook page. You can always send us a question, support@digitalliteracyassessment.org. So if there's something specific that you're looking for, you can send us a question to that email. And then it's about time for us to finish up. So if there's any last questions, yeah, feel free to email them to us, support@digitalliteracyassessment.org. But also, first review that manual and those videos to see if your questions are answered. We worked really hard on those to try to answer your questions in advance. And then thank you so much for coming. Thanks for being Northstar testing sites. We're super excited about the new website and process. I think it's all going to be much prettier and smoother, and I think you're going to love it. All right. Thanks, guys.